When 15 cents transformed their lives, his daughter shocked everyone with a touching secret. In the small Midwestern town of Maplewood, the air was thick with anticipation as the annual fair approached. But for Jack, a humble widowed father working tirelessly at the local factory, that anticipation was marred by uncertainty. News had broken that the factory might close its doors for good. Jack's heart sank, leaving him staring into a dark abyss of fears for his gifted teenage daughter, Emma, the apple of his eye. With every grueling shift, he fought against the tide, hoping to keep their dreams afloat. Emma was brilliant. She often helped with the bills, her sharp mind and gift for math making it a bit easier on their fraying finances. "It's all gonna be okay, Dad," she reassured him with a smile, but even her bright spirit couldn't brighten the weight on Jack's shoulders. He had entered the world of scraping by after losing his wife, and every dollar mattered. One day, while rummaging through the attic in search of an old baseball mitt, Emma stumbled upon a dusty recipe book. Her heart raced as she flipped through the yellowed pages and found it a long-lost family recipe for the pies that once made her grandmother famous in Maplewood. The thought ignited something inside her, a flicker of hope in her otherwise heavy heart. "If I sell these pies at the fair, we might just make enough to get by," she whispered to herself, imagining their enticing aroma wafting through the summer air. But as Emma began her experiments in the kitchen, memories bubbled up. Each measuring cup and mixing bowl recalled her grandmother's laughter, and with every pie she baked, Emma tasted the love and legacy that intertwined with her family's past. She found herself sharing stories of her grandmother with Jack over dinner, learning of her father's own hidden talent for baking, a skill he had buried under the weight of loss, and just like that, moments began to pop up like the bubbles in her sweet fruit pies. "You know, Dad," Emma said one night, "you used to be quite the baker yourself." Jack smiled sadly, memories flashing in his eyes. "Those were different times, Em," he murmured. "Things were simpler." Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The fair day arrived in vibrant colors, laughter echoing through the streets. Emma stood proudly behind their pie stand, the tables overflowing with sweet-smelling creations. Residents flocked to her booth, eager to reminisce over the flavors of their childhoods, sharing stories that made Emma feel like she was uncovering a lost patchwork of her family tree. However, as Jack looked around at the bustling crowd, a storm brewed within him. The whispers of the factory's closure he had overheard were now a deafening roar, leaving him conflicted between joy in his daughter's success and the despair of their looming future. Just when hope began to swell, a familiar face from Jack's past appeared at the fair, someone who could unravel their tightly woven family secrets. Would this confrontation shatter what they had built together or draw them closer than they ever imagined? As Jack stood frozen, his breath hitching in his throat, the familiar figure slipped through the crowds like a ghost from the past. It was Tom, an old colleague from the factory, a man who once shared laughs over lunch and dreams of brighter days. Yet, this was not the joyful reunion Jack had envisioned. Tom's eyes bore a heavy weight like he carried a load of bricks on his back. Just the sight of him instantly rekindled a memory of laughter and camaraderie that had long since faded. Tom spotted Jack across the pie stand, a hesitant smile creeping onto his face. "Jack! It's been a while, hasn't it?" His voice was warm but tinged with something darker, something enchanting yet concerning. Jack forced a smile in response, but his heart raced. "Yeah, it has. What brings you here?" He tried to keep his tone casual, but the underlying tension in his gut told him there was more to Tom's presence. "Oh, just thought I'd swing by and see how everyone's doing, especially since the factory news has been making waves." "Heard you were still holding the fort," Tom replied, glancing around. The words hung heavy like shadows against the backdrop of giddy fairgoers. Emma, catching snippets of the conversation, looked up from arranging her carefully baked pies. She could sense her father's discomfort, and it ignited a protective instinct. "Dad, is everything okay?" Her voice was laced with concern, drawing both men's attention. "It's nothing, Shem," Jack interrupted, trying to push aside the unease that was creeping in, fueled by memories best left untouched. "Just an old friend."
Tom's gaze softened as it shifted from Jack to Emma. Wow, I see you're following in your grandmother's footsteps. These look amazing. He gestured toward the pies, trying to ease the tension created by his unexpected visit. Emma's face lit up. Thank you. They're based on my grandma's recipes. It's the first time I've sold them, but it feels like she's right here with me. Her reply was so genuine, it put a slight smile on Tom's face. Jack, however, continued to battle the tempest in his heart. Listen, Jack, Tom ventured, his voice lowering to a whisper, we need to talk. Things are looking grim at the factory, and I've got some intel that could change everything, but we should sit down and discuss it somewhere private. Jack's pulse quickened. His mind raced back to the whispers he had overheard the factory was teetering on the edge of closure, and now this? The thought of losing even the flickering hope that the pie sales were igniting in Emma was unbearable. Tom, not here. Not now, Jack insisted, desperation seeping into his tone as he gestured toward his daughter. This is her moment. Tom nodded but pressed on. I understand, but you need to know what's coming. Just, be prepared. The weight of Tom's warning hung heavily in the air, obscured by the sounds of carnival rides and children laughing. Jack's thoughts spiraled into a whirlpool of fears, the essence of Emma's success mingling with the dread of inevitable loss. Can we talk later? Jack finally said, trying to regain control of the moment, though his heart told him that time was running out. Of course, Tom replied, stepping back, still watching Jack with that knowing look, a mix of sympathy and urgency. Emma noticed her father's tense expression. Dad, I can handle the stand by myself for a bit. Why don't you catch up with Tom? Her eyes sparkled with courage, but Jack could see the worry hiding behind her smile. As Jack walked alongside Tom, uncertainty gnawed at his heart. He could feel Emma's eyes on him, radiating confusion and trust. Did he dare share this burden with her? Could he afford to shatter the moment of joy they had built? Just then, a sudden cheer erupted from the crowd as a rainbow-colored balloon floated past, and Jack felt a flicker of warmth beneath the anxiety. It served as a reminder of how fleeting happiness could be. He glanced back at Emma, her passion evident as she engaged customers, and a surge of determination flooded his veins. What secrets lay hidden in Tom's warning? And as Jack's mind raced with the consequences, would he risk everything to uncover the truth, even if it meant facing the darkest corners of their past? As they stepped away from the pie stand, Jack tried to drown out the noise of the fair. Laughter and music mingled, turning into a chaotic melody that buzzed around him. His heart was a war drum, reminding him of the stakes. Tom, we need to find a quieter place, he murmured, scanning the crowd, searching for a sense of safety in the familiar chaos. Tom nodded, leading the way toward a small clearing where the blaring sounds softened. The merry-go-round spun gracefully in the distance, its colorful horses gaining life under the whimsical lights. Jack felt a bit of his anxiety dissolve. The laughter faded into a muffled background, enough to hear his own thoughts. Jack, I'm serious about what I said, Tom started, his expression hardened by urgency. I should come sooner, but it's bad. The factory, it's all falling apart. I can't watch you and your daughter get caught in the crossfire. Jack crossed his arms, irritated and afraid. What do you mean? What's happening? Tom hesitated, biting his lip. There are whispers that they want to close it down for good. Contract disputes, budget cuts, even layoffs. People know, Jack. There are plans in motion. Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. He had always seen the factory as a lifeline, his stability, his routine. Now it felt like it was slipping away, much like the carnival rides that saw children squealing in delight. But Emma, she's just started her business with these pies. This is everything for her. Tom's eyes softened. I know, man. But you need to prepare her for the worst. You both need a backup plan. If the factory shuts down, it's not just the paycheck you'll lose, your community. The place you always called home. I can't, Jack began, but the words rang hollow. He could feel the truth sinking in, like a stone in his stomach. He watched as families strolled by, parents sharing warm smiles with their kids, and he thought about his own life, the little moments he cherished with Emma. Would he really have to bear the weight of this news? Just then, his phone vibrated insistently in his pocket. He dug it out, and a message from Emma flashed on the screen. "Dad, everything okay? I can see your face from here. Please come back." A pang of guilt shot through him. He would need to focus on her dreams, not burden her with the shadows of his worries. "Can we table this for now, Tom? I need to get back to her. She deserves today." Tom sighed, his shoulders heavy. "I get that. But, Jack, don't brush this off. I mean it. Things are going to heat up in the coming weeks. Just keep an eye out for any changes." Jack nodded, feeling the urgency in Tom's words, yet unable to fathom how to make sense of it all. Returning to the pie stand, he found Emma laughing exuberantly with a customer, her hands tucked into her apron, flour dusting her cheeks, a vision of joy. "Dad, look at this," she said, and Jack's heart sank and lifted all at once. She held up a few bills, her eyes sparkling. "I just made $15. Can you believe it? 15. Just like that." Her enthusiasm washed over him, momentarily blinding him from his worries. "That's incredible, Em." He pulled her into a brief embrace, influencing as much warmth into the moment as he could muster. As the crowd swelled around them, Jack found himself fighting against the rising tide of fears. If he shared the truth with Emma, would it sink her spirit? He couldn't betray the hope she radiated, even in the face of uncertainty. Just then, Emma looked up, her curious eyes piercing through Jack's conflicted thoughts. "Dad, can we do something fun later? I want to celebrate the pies." A smile broke across Jack's face. "Of course we can. After we close up, let us go pick out some cotton candy or ride the Ferris wheel." And for the first time all day, a small sense of peace wrapped around him as they stood together, imagining the simple pleasures to come. But deep down, the shadows loomed larger. What if today was not just a celebration? What if the real test lay ahead, and he had to choose between protecting Emma's joy and preparing her for what was to come? As the fair lights twinkled above them, would he find the right moment to share the truth, or would they both be swept away in the tide of impending loss? Jack's heart raced as he watched Emma bounce on her toes, her excitement infectious. She radiated joy, completely unaware of the burden sitting heavy on his chest like a thick fog. He had a choice to make: shield her from the world's harshness or prepare her for an uncertain future. "Let us close up," he suggested, forcing a cheerful tone. Emma nodded, her grin wide, and they began packing away the leftover pies. With each movement, Jack's mind spiraled with thoughts of gloomy factory reports and conversations with Tom. The future felt uncertain, like a card balanced perilously on a table's edge. As they finished, the fair seemed to pulse with life around them. The sounds of laughter and joy enveloped them, but for Jack, it felt distant, muted. He observed other children darting toward candy stands, mothers cradling babies, and couples sharing cotton candy. Each moment resonated with a kind of happiness he feared they wouldn't have much longer. "Okay, pie lady. Time to celebrate," he called, attempting to lift the weight from both their hearts. Emma squealed, her laughter brightening the corner where they stood. It pulled Jack momentarily from the shadows of his worries. They walked hand in hand toward the Ferris wheel, its lights glowing like stars in a summer night sky. "Can you believe I sold out? Everyone loved the pies," Emma exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over as she tugged at his arm. "And I saved some for us to enjoy." "That's amazing, Em. You're a real businesswoman," Jack added, beaming with pride. He wrapped an arm around her shoulder, guiding her toward the massive wheel that towered over the fairgrounds. The closer they got, the more Jack's stomach knotted. Once they reached it, Jack quickly bought tickets, and as they climbed into a cabin on the Ferris wheel, he felt the entire world drop away. It was just him and Emma, swaying gently as they ascended. "Look, Dad. We can see everything from up here," she shouted, tilting her head back, her face illuminated by the glow of the fair below. The view was captivating. The colorful booths, laughing children, and the shimmering lights of the carnival made it look like a scene from a storybook. "Yes, it's beautiful, Em," Jack agreed, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Instead, his gaze wandered to their reflection in the cabin's window, a father trying to mask his spiraling thoughts behind a composed facade. Is everything okay with you, Dad? Emma's voice pierced through his worry.
She turned to face him, her brow slightly furrowed, concern creeping into her innocent gaze.
You've been acting kind of weird today. Jack took a deep breath, drawn to her sincerity. How could he shatter her world with the harsh truths looming like dark clouds? I'm just tired, kiddo.
It's been a long day, he managed to say, forcing a smile.
But inside, a storm raged, echoing Thomas' warnings.
As they reached the top of the Ferris wheel, Emma leaned against the railing, her hair fluttering in the wind. You know, she said, her voice gentle, sometimes I think about how hard things can get, and I promise you that no matter what happens, we'll figure it out together.
Jack's heart clenched. How did she know?
Her words tasted bittersweet, pouring warmth into his chest but also spreading the cold reality of their unknowing future. He nodded, unsure if he could respond.
He wanted to be her protector, to make every wrong feel right, but in doing so, would he build a wall that could eventually crack under pressure?
With every rotation, their worries broke free from gravity, yet he felt theirs tangling more tightly. As they began their steep descent back down, he realized time was slipping away. He could either shield her now or share the truth one day. Hey, let us grab some cotton candy, he suggested, wanting to bask in this moment, pushing aside the gnawing fear for just a little while longer.
Emma's face lit up. Yes. And we can share a big one.
As they stepped back on solid ground, Jack felt the weight of the world pressing down on him anew.
Would he have the courage to protect her without hampering her dreams? Would today be just the calm before a storm, or could he find a way for them both to weather the turmoil ahead?
With cotton candy in hand, they ventured deeper into the fair, excitement weaving through the air around them, but Jack couldn't shake the feeling that a countdown had begun.
What would the next day bring, and how would he navigate the tides threatening to drown their happiness? Jack held the fluffy pink cloud of cotton candy high, watching Emma's eyes widen in delight.
She practically leapt at it, her small hands grasping the sugary goodness. Nothing mattered more than this moment, her laughter mingling with the distant sounds of music and joy radiating from the fair. It felt like a thin shield against the storm brewing inside him. Let us find a place to sit and enjoy this, he said, leading her to a nearby bench under the twinkling lights. As they settled down, Jack couldn't help but steal glances at Emma. She was blissfully unaware of the shadows looming just outside their small bubble of happiness.
Do you remember the blueberry pie you made last week? Emma asked, her mouth full of cotton candy. I think that was my favorite. Really? Not the peach? Jack teased, nudging her gently. Emma giggled. Okay, the peach, too. But you know I only sold the blueberry because it was a customer favorite. Pride surged through him, warming his heart momentarily. But then it hit him, was this fleeting happiness enough?
The harder he tried to maintain this facade, the more he felt the weight of the world crushing down, each sugary bite contrasting sharply with the bitter uncertainty of tomorrow.
Can I ask you something? Jack ventured, locking eyes with Emma.
There was a thought simmering in his mind that pushed against his instincts to shield her.
Of course,
she said, the thrill of the fair still dancing in her gaze.
What do you think about changing things?
He asked, the words trembling on the tip of his tongue.
Changing things? Like what?
She replied, tilting her head curiously. Like where we live, or how we spend our time.
Sometimes I think about what your future might look like. The possibility of, well, it could be different. Emma furrowed her brow, digesting his words. Different doesn't mean bad. Why would it be bad? Jack paused.
He hadn't expected her to challenge him. I just want to make sure you can always be happy, he said, unsure how much honesty was too much. But Dad, she began, her voice serious yet childlike, happiness isn't about where we are or what we do.
It's about being together, right? Like now.
He felt a lump form in his throat. How could her little heart hold such wisdom? Her innocence felt like a warm blanket, wrapping around him, pushing the harsh realities to the corners of his mind.
He managed to nod, not trusting his voice. Promise me something? Emma continued, biting into another piece of cotton candy, her eyes sparkling with sincerity.
Anything, sweetheart, he said, leaning a bit closer. Promise you'll never choose for me based on what could go wrong.
You've got to let me choose, too,
especially if it makes us all happy, she asserted. Jack's breath caught. This wasn't just a child's plea, it was a powerful realization.
Her faith in him was a beacon in the fog of doubt. All right, Em. I promise.
In that moment, the noise of the fair faded into the background, and all he could hear was the rhythmic pulse of their bonded hearts, tied together by a shared love. Suddenly, a commotion broke out near the stage.
A crowd was gathering, shouting, and laughing. Curious, Jack stood with Emma held tight in his grip. "What's that?"
she asked, eyes wide.
"I guess we'll find out,"
he said, leading her toward the crowd. As they pushed through the throngs of people, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen.
Would it be a moment that could change everything for them? And as Emma's eager face shone in anticipation, he couldn't help but wonder, what if this was the moment that revealed the path forward, one he could never have anticipated?
As they moved closer to the stage, the noise intensified.
Laughter and cheers flowed around them like a wave, and Jack felt Emma's hand tightening in his, her excitement radiating through him.
The flickering lights overhead cast a warm glow on her face, illuminating her pure, unfiltered joy. When they finally squeezed to the front, they caught sight of a local magician, clad in a sequin jacket, making a grand show of pulling rabbits from hats and producing colorful scarves from thin air. The crowd was captivated, and for a moment, all the worries Jack held turned to static as he focused on Emma's gleeful giggles.
"Wow! Did you see that?" Emma exclaimed, bouncing on her toes. "Can I try a trick like that someday?"
Jack chuckled, his heart swelling with pride.
"Of course, you can. You could be the most amazing magician ever." Just then, the magician announced a special contest. He held up a box and explained it would be filled with goodies, a prize for the most clever trick performed by a child under 10. A rush of energy swept through the audience as parents started encouraging their little ones. "I want to enter," Emma shouted, her face set with determination.
"Please, Dad?"
Jack hesitated.
They didn't have much money for the fair, but seeing the fire in her eyes, he felt a profound urgency to support her dreams, however small they might be.
"All right, but we'll have to be quick."
He fished out a dime and 5 pennies from his pocket, handing them to her.
Emma's eyes sparkled brighter than ever as she accepted the coins like a treasure.
Without a moment's thought, she dashed to the front, a flurry of pink cotton candy behind her. Jack watched her take her place in line, wishing desperately that he could shield her from any disappointment. But deep down, he knew this was more than just about winning. It was her moment to shine. When it was Emma's turn, she faced the crowd, clutching the 3 coins tightly. She took a deep breath and, in all her confidence, recited a simple trick, making a coin disappear. The audience leaned in, anticipation hanging thick in the air. With careful movements and a dramatic flourish, Emma flicked her wrist, pretending to hide the coin behind her ear before revealing it. The crowd erupted with cheers and laughter, and Jack felt his heart race with pride.
"What did you do?"
a voice yelled from the audience.
"I made it disappear,"
she squealed, arms raised high, a vibrant smile plastered across her face. Before he knew it, the magician approached, clapping his hands.
"What a fantastic little magician we have here today."
His praise echoed in Jack's ears, but it was Emma's laughter that pulled him fully into the moment. As the magician handed her a bright blue ribbon for her performance, she bounded back to him, practically glowing.
"Did you see that, Dad? I did it."
A flood of joy overcame Jack, but along with that came a reminder of his own turmoil.
Could this small moment of triumph over the trivial even stand against the reality looming at home?
Yet, Emma had a sparkle in her eye that seemed to erase the weight of everything else. As they walked back through the crowd, she suddenly stopped and reached into her pocket, pulling out the blue ribbon. "I want to give this to you," she said, placing it in his hands with a solemn expression.
"For being the best dad ever. Promise me you'll keep it, okay?"
Jack felt his throat tighten.
"Why, sweetheart?" "Because you always make me believe in magic. And that's the best trick of all."
Tears stung at the corners of Jack's eyes as he held the ribbon close.
It represented hope, a tangible reminder that even in the darkness, amidst uncertainty, there were still moments of joy. But even more pressing was the question that lingered in his thoughts: what might they have to face together when the fair ended? Just then, a loud bang rang out from the back of the fairgrounds, shaking the ground beneath them. The sudden eruption pulled Jack from his reverie, and he looked toward the source. The crowd was turning, panic rippling through the throng like an electric shock. "What was that?" Emma asked, her voice trembling slightly, eyes wide. As the chaos began to unfold around them, Jack's heart raced. He felt an urgent need to protect her, but in doing so, would he snuff out the magic they had just found? He held her hand tighter, feeling the warmth of her small palm. "Stay close, Emma. We'll figure this out together." But in the back of his mind, he started to wonder, could this fair and its hidden troubles lead to more than just a fleeting moment of joy? The crowd erupted into a frenzy as people pushed and pulled, trying to make sense of the loud bang that interrupted their joyful atmosphere. Jack looked at Emma, her small face filled with confusion and fear. The ribbon dangled loosely in his hand, but he forced a smile for her sake. "Sweetheart, let us go this way," he said, steering her away from the gathering panic. He needed to protect her, that was the priority. But as they moved, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease growing in his chest. Suddenly, a man rushed past them, eyes wild and frantic. "Run! Get out of here!" he yelled, and Jack's heart dropped. This was no longer about a fun day at the fair. Something serious was happening. "Dad, I'm scared." Emma's voice trembled, and his instinct was to scoop her up in his arms. Instead, he knelt down to her level, looking deep into her eyes. "I know, Emma. But we need to be brave right now. You trust me, right?" "I trust you," she whispered, though her voice quavered. Just as they turned to leave the area, a loud crack echoed again, this time followed by another burst of panic. People were screaming now, and the noise swelled like a storm. Jack tightened his grip on Emma's hand, and they began to weave through the crowd, more determined than ever to get to safety. They moved past booths and stalls, brightly colored lights flickering eerily overhead. Jack's thoughts raced as he scanned the faces around them, shifting from blurry images of joy to scared expressions. His protective instinct was sharper than ever. He wouldn't let anything happen to his daughter. "Let us find a place to hide," he whispered, urging Emma toward the outskirts of the fairgrounds. They ducked behind a food stand, the scent of fried dough wafting through the air, almost mocking the chaos just moments away. Suddenly, Emma spoke up, her voice strong despite the tremor underneath. "Dad, what if it's just a trick? You know, like magic?" She looked up at him, her small brow furrowing in thought. "Sweetheart, this doesn't feel like magic. But whatever it is, I promise to keep you safe." As they huddled, Jack noticed a group of parents nearby, guiding their children toward the exit. He felt a pang of jealousy at their apparent confidence. But then there was Emma, sitting cross-legged beside him, still clutching her blue ribbon. "What if somebody got hurt, Dad?" Her question pierced through the noise swirling around them. "I just want to help everyone feel better." Her words struck Jack like a bolt of lightning. It was so simple, yet so profound. She was only a child, but the compassion she held was enormous. "And we will help them, Emma. Once we know it's safe." The thought warmed him, filling the void of nervousness. In the midst of the chaos, she embodied everything good and pure. He looked down at the ribbon resting in her tiny hand. "You know what? This ribbon means you've brought magic to us today. No matter what happens, we've already created a beautiful memory." As if fate was testing them further, a loud announcement blared over the speakers, cutting through the debris of confusion. "Attention, everyone! Please remain calm and make your way to the exits. There has been a safety concern. Help is on the way." Jack's heart sank. Concern? What kind of concern? He swallowed hard, trying to mask his anxiety for Emma. He wanted to show bravery, but it didn't come easy. But there was something in her gaze now, a spark of determination, just like when she performed her trick. "Promise me we'll stay together, Dad? Always, my little magician. Together we'll find a way through." Suddenly, Jack had the urge to protect her spirit as fiercely as he protected her body. He realized that while they faced a storm outside, they could weather this together.
As they began moving toward the exit with the crowd, he felt an unfamiliar sense of purpose swell within him. As they stepped onto the path towards safety, a figure in a police uniform appeared ahead, his face serious and determined. The air felt charged with the potential for change, and just then, Jack's phone buzzed in his pocket, a message, lighting up the screen with a name from the past that sent a chill through him. Help is coming, but what path will they have to take to find it? Jack glanced at the phone, the name glowing like a beacon in the middle of the chaos, Sarah. His heart raced. Memories flickered through his mind like a rapid slideshow, connections that had been buried under layers of life's dust. He felt the pull of that name, a nostalgia tied to a past he'd tried to leave behind. Dad? Emma tugged at his sleeve, her voice small and unsure. It snapped him back to the present. He had to focus. Yes, sweetheart? Are we safe? He looked around. People were still moving, frantic but following the orders from the loudspeakers. We're getting there. Just a bit further. Even amidst the turmoil, Emma's resilience shone like a light. Jack understood then, if they made it, not just physically but emotionally, he needed to be honest with her, keep that spark of trust alive. You know, sometimes you find strength in places you least expect, he said, squeezing her hand a bit tighter. Like the tricky flowers that look weak but can grow through the concrete? She asked, her eyes lighting up. Exactly. They pushed through the crowd, and Jack felt the energy around him shift. The chaos was almost tangible. He surveyed the exits, but confusion reigned, people were unsure whether to go right, left, or stay put. The ever-looming question thrummed in his chest, what challenge lay ahead. Just then, he heard another loud bang, a stark reminder of the unpredictability of their situation. The crowd surged again, and in the chaos, he and Emma were momentarily separated. Panic galvanized Jack, his breath catching in his throat. Emma! He whipped around, his heart hammering, scanning those frightened faces. Just when his hopes started to slip, he spotted her, standing still, eyes wide, clutching her ribbon. Relief flooded through him. He dashed over, scooped her up, and held her tightly. We stick together, remember? What was that noise? Her voice trembled. We're going to find out, he said, trying to mask the worry welling up inside him. They edged closer to the exit, the fresh air inviting like a soothing balm. The sounds of the fair faded behind them, replaced by the sound of sirens and distant shouts. Through a break in the throng, Jack caught sight of the police officers directing families towards safety. Suddenly, a commotion broke out beside them. A young woman, a mother, frantic, had lost sight of her child in the surge. Jack stepped closer, ensuring Emma was still by his side while he assessed the situation. The fear radiating from the woman was palpable. Please, have you seen her? She is only 6. Mom! Emma cried, we have to help. Jack hesitated, but the look on his daughter's face sparked a fierce determination in him. Okay, we'll help. Stay close. They approached the mother together, Jack's heart racing not just for Emma but for this lost child. What does she look like? He asked the mother. As she described the girl, Jack couldn't help but think of Emma and the bravery shining in her eyes. Just then, as they were helping the distressed mother call out to other people, Jack's phone buzzed again. He instinctively looked down, the name flashing again, Sarah. The rawness of emotion hit him as if she were standing right beside him. Dad, what's wrong? Emma asked, sensing the shift in his demeanor. Nothing we can't handle, he replied, forcing a smile. Let us focus on helping her. But as they began to shout the little girl's name into the chaos, Jack couldn't shake off the feeling that whatever news awaited him from Sarah would somehow change everything again, and just as that thought settled, a familiar voice echoed through the crowd. Dad! Emma! Jack and Emma turned, heartbeats in sync as they spotted a figure rushing toward them, eyes wide with hope. Who is it? Emma asked, uncertainty coloring her voice. As the person drew closer, Jack's breath caught in his throat, his heart both soared and sank at the same time, the moment hanging in the air. He knew deep inside that one revelation could shift the entire course of their lives. What would come next? The figure rushed closer. Jack's heart raced, anticipation battling anxiety. It brought an unexpected blend of relief and dread.
Was it his mother? A friend? Or Jessica?
He exclaimed, his voice barely breaking through the din. Emma's face lit up as she recognized her older sister. Jessica barreled through the crowd, her long hair whipping behind her. She looked a bit disheveled but unhurt, a small comfort in the chaos surrounding them.
Where have you been? Jessica gasped, sweeping Emma into her arms.
Jack watched the two share a moment that seemed to defy the panic enveloping them. There was that fleeting harmony amidst the storm, a reminder of home.
Is everyone okay? Mom? Dad?
Jessica looked at Jack with urgency, and he felt a jolt of responsibility. They're safe, he replied, scanning the area where they'd last seen his wife.
But we need to find a way out.
There's a little girl lost and we're helping.
Jessica nodded firmly. Let us move. With a new sense of purpose, the small family pushed forward. Everywhere Jack looked, faces reflected a tapestry of fear and determination.
He felt it but also saw hope, the kind that comes from the unlikeliest people banding together in dire times. Dad, don't forget to call Sarah. Emma reminded him, her voice tinged with sincerity. He winced slightly at the mention of Sarah, but he quickly shook the thought away. After we help everyone, I promise, he replied as they moved toward a cluster of people calling out for lost loved ones. The air grew thick with worry, yet Jack was buoyed by the warmth of his daughters anchoring his spirit.
They began shouting the girl's name, Mia. Mia!
The sound ringing through the thrumming heart of the crowd.
Dad, what if we don't find her?
Emma's voice trembled again, and Jack felt the weight of her worry as he knelt beside her, meeting her gaze.
We will. Trust me.
Sometimes, miracles appear when you least expect them.
Just like the flowers. Emma nodded, and Jack turned back to the crowd, determination setting in as the minutes ticked by.
It felt like time had slowed, each second stretching into an eternity. Then, suddenly, a small voice broke through the noise.
Mommy!
The crowd shifted as a little girl, round face stained with tears, broke away from the thrall of frightened adults.
Jack's heart dropped as Emma squealed, Mia.
Before he could even react, Emma took off.
Jack felt a rush of panic. Emma, wait. Don't, but it was too late.
His daughter closed the distance, engulfing the little girl in a warm embrace.
Mia! I found you!
Emma cried out, her joy infectious. The mother rushed over, tears streaming down her cheeks as she snatched Mia up, thanking Emma repeatedly, relief washing over the tiny group. Jack stood back for a moment, heart swelling with unexpected pride. His girl had shown bravery in a moment of fear, but even amidst the joyful reunion, Jack felt a tug at his heart.
He could sense Sarah's name still flickering like a candle in the wind. Dad, did we really help? Emma asked, her voice bright and innocent, still echoing the earlier chaos.
Yes, sweetheart, we did. Then, the phone buzzed again in his pocket. He hesitated, the name flickering again on the screen. Sarah. Only this time, it felt different.
What if this call contained answers? What if it didn't?
Jack looked down as the weight of the moment snaked around them. He couldn't ignore it any longer. Suddenly the familiar buzz of the world around him faded into silence, and one important question floated to the surface.
What would Sarah say now?
Before he could decide, another noise broke through the din, a distant explosion, followed closely by the sound of shattering glass.
Jack's heart stuttered as he turned his gaze back towards the chaos, adrenaline hitting him like a wave. Was it too late for them again?
He just hoped it wouldn't break them this time. As the echoes of the explosion subsided and chaos rippled through the fair, Jack's instincts kicked in full force.
Stay close to me, Emma.
He barked, holding her hand tightly as they waded through the crowd. Fear raced through him, each heartbeat mirroring the dread of his earlier conversations with Tom.
What had once been a day of celebration had transformed into a nightmare.
Jack's eyes darted around, trying to keep Emma in sight while scanning for any hint of danger. They pushed toward the nearest exit, the path lined with terrified faces and the ringing sirens in the distance. With every step, the weight of his anxiety grew, mingling with the musty scent of popcorn and fried dough now tinged with smoke. Suddenly, Emma tugged on his arm, her face pale.
Dad! Look!
She pointed toward a group of people standing frozen, staring at a stand that had toppled over.
The magician, once the highlight of the fair, was now trying to calm down frightened children, his eloquent charm momentarily lost in the pandemonium.
Jack felt an overwhelming urge to protect them all but was reminded of the growing urgency to shield Emma first.
"Let us go, Em, we need to get out."
He squeezed her hand tighter, only to feel her little fingers slip away as she turned back to watch what was unfolding.
"Please, Dad, just a second?"
"I want to help," she pleaded, her heart as big as ever.
"Okay, just a second," Jack relented, watching her chase down a nearby volunteer, eyes sparkling with bravery.
She approached the shaken magician, offering a soft corner of her heart to mend the chaos around her, and Jack smiled despite the tempest swirling outside. Leaving the magic show behind, Emma hopped back to his side, her spirit uncrushed.
"See?
Sometimes magic makes things better," she grinned, but Jack felt a pinch of sorrow. How could he let her cling to that belief while shadows loomed ever closer? In that clarity of daughterly hope, the name Sarah buzzed in his mind, pressing him to remember those ties.
He took another deep breath, seeking strength in Emma's resilience.
As they emerged onto a quieter street, evening was painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. "That acid AM, deeper breath, happy thoughts," he whispered, feeling the tension begin to unfurl at the corners of his heart. Just then, he felt the urgent vibration of his phone again, the name Sarah flashing like an electric current through his mind. "I need to take this," he said, turning slightly away from Emma.
"Okay," she said, brow furrowing, "but can we please get cotton candy later?" Jack nodded absent-mindedly, his heart racing as he hit answer. "Sarah?" "Jack, oh thank goodness I got through. It's urgent, the factory is facing big changes, and I didn't want you caught off guard."
"You have to be ready," she said, her voice laced with a frantic concern that made Jack's stomach drop. "Just tell me," Jack urged, bracing himself.
"Layoffs are imminent. Some people are considering leaving town. It's serious. I want to help you and Emma, but you have to be proactive about this." Jack felt the anchoring weight of dread slam down. How could he protect Emma's spirit through this tempest?
"I know what's at stake," he replied, a tremor creeping into his voice.
Emma's laughter drifted through the air nearby, reminding him what he had to fight for. "Promise me you'll think about it."
"Let us talk more, I have to go, Sarah," Jack interrupted, feeling the finality of his decision form around his heart. He ended the call, breathing hard as he turned back to Emma. "Let us find that cotton candy," he said firmly, hoping she wouldn't notice the tremor in his voice. Her smile widened, pure and bright.
"Really?"
"Yep, your reward for bravery today."
As they made their way to the cotton candy stand, a wave of warmth surged through Jack.
This was the moment he would pour all his fears into hope instead. They would forge a new path together, pursue Emma's dreams, and build a future threaded with the resilience that brought them through this day. At the cotton candy stand, Emma twirled around, her laughter lifting the weight of uncertainty around
them. "Can we get two?"
"Absolutely," Jack said, watching her leap in delight, the brightness in her eyes reminding him of how they had come through the storm a team, unwavering, ready for whatever faced them next. As Jack handed the vendor a few bills, he felt a sense of peace blanket over his heart. Their lives might not have been perfect, but they would face the changes head-on together. Winding their way through the still bustling fair, buoyed by the sweet embrace of cotton candy, the shadows began to fade, replaced by a new optimism. As they exited the fair, Jack whispered to Emma, "No matter what, we're in this together." She smiled, ribbon bouncing against her chest, and replied, "Just you and me, always." Jack smiled back, for it was in this moment, amid uncertainty, that he truly understood what mattered most: love, family, and the unwavering belief that tomorrow held something magical to uncover together. And so, as they stepped into the twilight under the glow of a settling night, Jack knew that their new journey was just beginning.
Now, this is your moment. Don't wait not even one more second to hit that subscribe button and follow the journey.
You need to subscribe now for more exclusive stories that inspire and transform.
Remember to leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories coming.
I want to hear what you think about this ending. Comment below and share your heart. And don't forget to share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support truly makes a difference.